I didn't. I had to get my mum to bring me a shirt, but she forgot because I came up from Glasgow this morning.
She remembered.
And so I'm stuck with my own band shirt. Although I'm pretty sure she just bought a black shirt.
From Dr. Noodles. Right, let's start.
We existed in like numerous forms before Canary Gold was actually a thing. So we had like a couple different bands at the very beginning, but we were both in all of them. But Canary Gold's been like an official thing for maybe about just over 2 years, existing in various forms, like with the two of us always being in it.
Yeah, because we spent a year in Texas, and so there was kind of a shift to a different scene over there, and then coming back here, obviously this is our first headline show since being back, and we've been practicing with Bryn and Gregor again for the past few months.
You just want me to come back home, if only you know what I've done.
It didn't really have anything to do with music at first, because our mum is from Texas, and so her parents lived there, and she kind of wanted to move back to be closer to them. And so the whole family just kind of went with her, and we've known a guy called Dusty Hill, who's the bassist of a band called ZZ Top, who are...
I'm sure you know.
Yeah. And we'd known him for a while, but we'd never like really spoken to him about our interest in music and our experience as a band or anything. But one day we decided to kind of have him come over to our grandparents' house, and we just kind of put on an acoustic show for him. Just kind of like, we staged it as a show for like some of our family members who were there. But we're like, oh yeah, Dusty, come along if you want. You just have a look. And so he came along. I don't think he was really expecting much, but at the end of it, he kind of came over to us and told us that he really enjoyed it and that he wanted to kind of help us along a little bit. So, and that was like a couple months into us living in the States. And from there on, we stuck pretty close to him and his wife, who were helping us a lot. And we kind of just started to build traction with them kind of behind us, just working with them as kind of our like mentors slash management. It was definitely a unique experience. The scene over there is a lot different from over here, especially being in a big city like Houston. Like there's a lot more kind of variety and just like sheer volume of performers just going about. So it was a pretty unique experience.
Take me to the water, submerge me until I shake.
Yeah, I think it probably did. I mean, a lot of our melodies are kind of folky, I would say, like have kind of a folky sound to them, but not necessarily in the music itself. And I think a lot of that probably comes from just what I was listening to over there with some more not quite country, but the folky and Americana aspect to the music over there.
Yeah, and just in terms of kind of being there, like in the mindset that we were in when we were there, like the songs we would have written if we'd stayed here would probably be totally different than the ones we wrote there. I mean, there's no way of knowing, but it's likely that we wouldn't have come up with a lot of the songs that we came up with, mostly because we were spending so much time together. So it was easy to just kind of get an idea out. And like just the volume of songs that we kind of came up with in that year was a lot higher than what we'd come up with before. Part of it was because we were working with a management agency that were kind of like, they kind of just wanted to test the limits of our creativity. And so every time we saw them, they were like, just write more songs, just keep going. And so we were kind of, because normally we take a while to write a complete song. It's just the way it is. Like some people can write a song in a day, but it takes us a while to get through one. And so it kind of pushed our limits a little bit when they kind of were trying to get us to do that. But our volume definitely increased. And I think it's just because the more we were doing it, the more creative we were in general. And the more we kind of delved into the scene over there, the more creative we became. And so we kind of just were having more ideas more frequently and putting them down just to try and increase the volume of material.
We performed one gig. It was your going away gig to America that we performed as a band.
It's very spontaneous.
Yeah. No, we were straight back into it, I'd say, when you came back. I went across for a couple of weeks. I actually went to America for a couple of weeks. Had a little part in writing some of the drum parts of the songs. But straight back into it. It's good.
Before the guys went to Houston, I'd practiced for a few gigs with them. I think played 2, but I played with like a number of different drummers. So like obviously the material's changed a lot in that year, and the general directions changed too, but in general it's the same dynamic between all of us, I would say, and it was easy enough to fit back into.
It's not really something I think about all that much while I'm writing it. I mean, like there'll be certain kind of themes that I like to touch on throughout different songs, but there's not really any kind of overarching idea. Like it's different in every song, and it kind of like I don't really go into it with an idea. I kind of come up with an idea by accident, and then I kind of like impart other things onto it. So I kind of think like I think about where I could go with it and what kind of themes I could touch on. But a lot of our lyrics especially are pretty ambiguous, and I like the idea of people kind of taking from it what they want, and so it's kind of personal to them. So I kind of have an idea of what I'm trying to get across in a lot of the songs, but the lyrics are kind of written in a way to allow people to kind of interpret it for themselves.
Yeah, a lot of the times the meaning comes to you after the song's been written. Like Bryn was asking me what the meaning of the song "The Streets Are Too Rough," the single we're putting out in the next couple of months. He was asking me what that was about, and I just said I didn't really know. But like it will probably come to me at some point.
Yeah, you kind of know as a feeling.
Yeah, you have.
But you don't really know how to describe it in words.
Yeah, one of us will start a demo of a song, and as soon as we get stuck for ideas, well, at least as soon as I'm stuck, I kind of bring it. I send a quick version of it to Spencer to see what we can get out of it. Obviously, it's a bit harder now because we're more split up since Spencer's down in Glasgow. But yeah, usually one of us will start it and we'll co-write from there. Usually the lyrics are written purely by
one person,
or the other.
It's different every time though. Like we've had a couple, especially when we were in the States, and like everything was we were in the same place. A lot of the songs we kind of both sit in the room. Like when we had the idea very early on, we'd kind of both sit in the room and kind of push the song out together. So it's definitely more of a kind of co-writing standpoint. But yeah, most of it kind of follows as JP said. But it's different every time.
That's another one that's kind of variable, for me at least. The themes kind of come by themselves. Sometimes they come from certain inspirations, but other times they're just random.
Yeah. I think they kind of subconsciously come from how I'm feeling at the time, or like other things I've been listening to or just experiencing. I don't really consciously think about it, but yeah, I definitely don't try and be too literal when I'm writing it, just because I just don't like to do it. I don't really know why, but yeah, it all ties into the idea of it being ambiguous.
Makes you uncomfortable.
It makes me uncomfortable when it's too literal. Yeah.
What if I never was? What if I never do the things I...
Well, we're actually that's mostly him that does those, and we're actually
by accident usually.
Yeah, we're actually using one of them to come out to tonight. So like we just use it before we come out on stage. I don't know if we ever officially release them, they'd probably work in with like a number of other songs. So like be a transition from one thing to another in an album or an EP or something. But I mean, we probably wouldn't release any of them on their own unless he launched a solo career. It's called "The Streets Are Too Rough," if I can say that now. And it'll be our first official release. So we've like released stuff here and there on the SoundCloud a while ago, but it'll be our first proper release.
We were trying to find one that would kind of define, because obviously it's our first release, we need to find one that's kind of sits in the middle of where our music is, and we thought that one was fairly neutral in terms of our style.
And it's also kind of a culmination of all the of everything we've learned like over our time as a band and writing songs together. It was one that kind of took the best of everything and kind of put it into one song.
Tell me what I've done and what I'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So obviously we've got that single that's hopefully coming out end of January, around that time. We'll be doing some stuff off the back of that just to kind of promote it, some local gigs, some gigs around Scotland. And we'll be going back into the studio again sometime in January to record another song. And then I think we'll just kind of, we don't really have any plans.
Yeah, there's not really any
Right
plan
after
past January.
But it'll like just involve kind of riding off the back of what we release and then just building on it.
Pull it together.